Hello everybody, we are back today and talking about Stuart Skinner, the Edmonton Oilers goalie, and what exactly his run in March could mean for himself and his team. Now before we start, I did want to say please make sure to subscribe to my channel if you're new to me, new to hockey, whatever the case may be. I'd love to have you here along the way as I try to do this as a career. So subscribe if you feel like it. Anyway, let's talk about Stuart and exactly what went on in March for him. So the 24-year-old Stuart Skinner is a Canadian-born goalie that was drafted in the third round for the Oilers and has raised eyebrows with this past month and has many people talking about what the future for him in Edmonton looks like. So what exactly happened for Skinner in Edmonton last month, and what does it mean regarding Edmonton's goalie situation for the future? Well, you can see from the thumbnail clearly Skinner lit it up as the team in March when he was in net, ended up winning 10 of the 12 games that he played in. And when he was in between the pipes, obviously winning 10 games and then getting all these points is a good thing. Not too bad of a month, eh? So I would say yes, but it's not one of those things that you can look at and just say this is going to be a for sure case, and it is great news, but we just have to dive a little deeper. So let's talk about the netminder and the fact that he has gained some really notable experience this season, already hit the 40 plus games played mark, and actually had played in one more game, or I should say one less game this March than he had all of last season. Absolutely incredible for him that he's been able to get more experience. He had 12 games, of course, in March. Last year played 13 total. But let's take a little bit deeper of a look at the stats and see what they tell us. These are some stats, just a few of them that I lined out here, and then we could go even deeper, but I don't want to bore you today, especially as the playoffs come around. I know that a lot of people have other stuff on their mind, so let's just talk about a few things. So in March, there were 18 goalies that played 500 plus minutes, and for their teams, they ended up, kind of ranking 1 through 18, certain categories. So let's see how Skinner compared to the bunch. So his save percentage was .908. That's 6 out of 18. That's not bad. His high danger save percentage was .804. That's 12th. Of course, not ideal. His goals against average was 2.83, 9th. And then his goals saved above average was 3.42, which was 6th, meaning that a average goalie would have stopped, less than about 3 goals more than what Skinner was able to do. So he helped this team out by 3.5 goals on average, which I know is a stat people don't like, but at the end of the day, it is a stat that I think is kind of a fun number to look at. Those are just a few quick things, though, to look at, and we can tell a partial story from what occurred. At first glimpse, you're probably looking at this and saying, these numbers, they don't stick out particularly. The save percentage isn't anything that makes you think, oh, this is a future Vezina winner. The goals against average, again, kind of the same situation there. He's not really top 3 in anything, and that's one of those things where you're looking at and saying, I don't exactly know what you mean, because yes, he did have a lot of wins, but nothing really that makes you go, wow. But I would actually argue that I liked a lot of the things that we saw from him. While he didn't face a lot of high danger chances against per 60 this month, he did have to play some very stiff competition. I'll actually leave this up here on the screen of who they had to play as I try to pull up the schedule. Of course, I have it out here. Yes, so he played Toronto, of course, Winnipeg. I mean, all these teams, you look at them here as I left it up on the board. These are really good teams. And in fact, you look at this, you realize that none of these teams are bottom feeders by any means. 9 of the 12 actually at the time are in playoff spots, and you have other teams like Ottawa and Buffalo that are theoretically in the hunt for the playoffs. So that's kind of one of those things where you look at this and you say, that's good, because at the end of the day, he was taking on a team against like the Bruins, where he was able to stop 26 pucks out of 28 shots faced, and was able to get the win against a team that is trying to set the all-time win record, and finished out March in style with a shutout against the Los Angeles Kings, and that was where he faced 43 shots in a playoff-like atmosphere as LA and Edmonton look probably set to clash for the first round, I should say, unless Vegas ends up, not finishing that top spot. We'll have to see. But in general, in a pressure-filled environment like that, was able to get a shutout with a lot of shots against. And really, I think he only got lit up once in this, which was against the Maple Leafs on March 11th. He allowed 6 goals on 37 shots against. Other than that, he was relatively stable. So what does this mean for Skinner, and what does it mean for the team? Well, this run could be part of a bigger string of events that we could see from the 2017 draftee, and will he become the undisputed #1 goaltender for the team? I'm going to argue maybe, because he just signed a 3-year extension, and that was a relatively cheap deal and seems poised to possibly take away the reins from Jack Campbell, who just signed a 5-year deal with Edmonton, and that is in its first year for this deal, so there's 4 more years to go. While it is good news for Skinner, probably not ideal for Campbell, but he is getting a chance to prove himself. Stuart is, and Edmonton might just absolutely have some real consistency in it, which is big because they crave consistency from that position that has been consistently inconsistent. So if you're able to get a guy that is young, that is with you for the foreseeable future, that is on a cheap deal, absolutely fantastic news. A guy that will be loved by Edmonton fans since he was drafted for the team, by the team I should say, and with their conference final run directly in the rearview mirror, we may be looking at this and saying, well, you know, Edmonton has shown they can go on a run. Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, etc., etc., etc. This team is fun to watch. I find myself trying to watch them as much as I can. They're on the West Coast, so it's a little bit harder to watch unless it's the weekends. I really do enjoy watching the Oilers play, for better or worse, but with Mattias Ekholm trade and those benefits coming from that, and possibly Stuart becoming the future number 1 goalie and growing and flowering into this or blossoming into this top-end goalie for the Oilers, could be great. But the thing is, he just has to be consistent. And if March has shown anything, shown that he is able to face those better teams and more often than not come away and not be totally battered like the game against the Maple Leafs. So I'm really excited to see what's going to happen here for Stuart Skinner and the Edmonton Oilers. I'd love to see him thrive because we've been talking about him for at least 2 years now on the channel, and I know a lot of Oilers fans have brought him up for absolutely good reason here. He looks to be somebody that I'm looking forward to see for the foreseeable future. That's a lot of words there that I probably could have cut out. But anyway, what are your thoughts on Stuart? Do you think that he will be their starting goalie going into next season? Do you think that he's already locked up the role now? Do you think he'll be their guy in the playoffs? What's going to happen here? I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments. Also, please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Everybody stay safe. Have a great night. And you go with hockey, all right? Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.